Denise. Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. Denise. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party.
I gotta say, I feel like we're besties now after this. What's up, guys? It's Denise Salcedo. But nobody is hearing me. All right, can you guys hear me now? I don't think you guys are hearing me with the wrong mic. All right, people are saying they can hear me now, but apparently, I don't know if you guys are getting the right microphone, though. Okay, well, you guys are hearing me now, so I'm just going to have to roll with it. Apologies, guys. I was having audio issues right before this, and I thought you guys were going to be able to hear me successfully. And then I was like, okay, I'm good to go. But it kind of seemed like those audio issues weren't solved just yet. So hopefully, okay, people are saying they're definitely hearing me on the wrong microphone. Damn it. All right. Give me 1 second, everybody, as I try to resolve this issue. Apologies to everybody. This normally does not happen. All right. Can you guys hear me now? I hope this definitely is what we hear me. Okay, I think we're good now, everybody. Apologies to everyone. I will edit this portion of the show. This normally does not happen, but prior to this, I disconnected my audio so that I could listen to the show without headphones, and I think that kind of messed things up logging into this actual show. But let's go ahead and kick things off right from the beginning. First and foremost, welcome to the show, Speak Now Pro Wrestling. I swear the audio issues don't always happen. This is the first time in a very, very long time, but we're going to be chatting WWE SmackDown. We're going to be chatting AEW Rampage, the November 5th edition. We got 3 hours in 1 hour to talk about, 3 hours of wrestling and 1 hour to talk about. All right, perfect. Everybody can hear me. Thank the Lord. All right, we're going to kick things off with our first super chat of the day. This one is from Darth Steven C777, who says, Sean did this. Denise is the GOAT of Fightful. I officially got muted on my own show. What the hell? Or like Tony Solomon says, it must be budget cuts. All right, guys, there's so much to get into here today. I actually want the chat here to let me know if you guys want me to get started talking about WWE SmackDown today, or if you guys want me to get started on AEW Rampage. Depending on what you guys want me to go ahead and start talking about, I will kick the show off with that, and then we'll just kind of get rolling from there. And as you guys want, please make sure to take part in the chat. You guys help me out very much, so make sure to take part in the chat. I will be reading your thoughts, your comments, etc. as we move forward with the show. Additionally, if you do send in a super chat at any point throughout the stream, I will make sure to read your comment, and all super chats do help me out. So you guys, if you want to send them in, you can. We got another super chat from Ray O, who says, don't always catch these shows, but I'm curious, do you get more super chats about SmackDown or Rampage on Friday? I'm going to say Rampage, but if something big happens on SmackDown, then it will be SmackDown. But it really kind of just depends on what we're talking about and what really went down on the show. But I'm looking at the comments here, and everybody wants me to get started with AEW Rampage. So we're going to go ahead and get started then with AEW Rampage, because there is kind of a lot to talk about. You know, it's a 1 hour show, yet so much actually went down on this show here. So we're going to kick things off with Bryan Danielson versus Anthony Bowens. And already, not even with this match, do we already have something to get into. So Bryan Danielson versus Anthony Bowens. And of course, Anthony Bowens comes out with his partner, Max Caster, who you all know always has these very interesting lines, interesting raps, etc. And there are a lot of people right now that are saying that this line was probably the best line that he has ever done in his raps. And given that he's had some good ones, my favorite one was about Renee Paquette and Oral Sessions. That was a really good line. But this one here, so he comes out and he throws a funny one first, where he says that we only do numbers while this guy's busy growing cucumbers, etc. And then he goes on to say, he closes out his rap by saying, "I end careers quicker than your stepfather-in-law." And as you know, this was directed to Bryan Danielson. Now, a lot of people know why this was funny. For those of you guys who do not know, this was a direct shot at John Laurinaitis. As most of you or some of you know, John Laurinaitis is married to the mom of the Bellas, therefore making him Bryan Danielson's stepfather-in-law. And what was the big news yesterday and even today? Well, it was the WWE releases. And who was, sending these emails out? John Laurinaitis. So this was a direct shot at John Laurinaitis and WWE in general for the releases, etc., etc. I was not at all expecting this line. I thought it was hilarious. And I thought it was kind of one of those things where if you know, and obviously a lot of people do, but there were a lot of people who didn't know either, because I saw a bunch of people asking on Twitter, like, what does this mean? Well, there you go. That's the explanation. I thought it was a hilarious line, but chat, how did you guys feel about it? Go ahead and let me know. We're going to kick things off with a super chat from Reggie Simmons. Thank you so much to Reggie, who says, "It's Friday. Y'all know what that means. Time for Speak Now Pro Wrestling with Denise Salcedo." I appreciated Reggie, and at least we no longer have any audio issues. But let's see what we got here. Let's see. Oh my gosh. This one's from Major Blood, who says, "This line was definitely the best line since Renee and Oral Sessions, maybe even his best line ever." It's definitely up there. Honest to God. Labor Day says, "This line wasn't as good as the Renee one. Come on now, people." The Renee one was really good because it was just like, oh shit, right? Like, oh my God, that's a good play on words. This one was different. This one was like, oh my God, he totally just said that. So I almost feel like you had two different types of like, oh shit reactions. It was two totally different oh shit reactions to those Max Caster lines. But either way, I like stuff like that though. Like little lines like that, I'm into that. I dig that stuff. And let's get through a couple more comments. This one is from Pomi Wrestling, who says, "It's been a while since Caster had a killer line like that one." It has. Everything that happened, unfortunately, with Matt. Well, not unfortunately, but everything that happened after the whole Simone line with Max Caster, I kind of feel like his raps have been a little bit more tamed. Like they haven't had that like, wow, shocker, moment until this one here. Like he toned it down a lot, at least from like what I recall. So this one here really kind of felt like, okay, this is the Max Caster that we know and love. And I like those kinds of lines. If they're funny, they're funny. And this one was definitely funny. Ninja Mortis says, "I was effing screaming." Sour Machine Gun says that Rampage was full of shots tonight. It definitely was. It really, really was. And let's go through a couple of more comments, guys. Again, if you're in the chat, do not be shy. I'll read a couple of your comments, so make sure you guys send them in. And this is another one from Keith Duran, who says, I'm sure everything Caster says nowadays goes through TK. I would hope so, because I think after the situation with, his past situation again with that line about Simone Biles and the line about oh my gosh, I'm forgetting the name, about the rape line and all of that happened last time, that happened all in the same one. I think that one is the one that after that you want to make sure you have a second set of ears, listening to what you're saying and maybe doing some pre-approval at least of some of those lines. So I appreciate well, I would hope that there is somebody, double checking all of this stuff. So I do like that. Thank you so much to Leonard Aaron III. It's the Duke Lacrosse team. Thank you. I couldn't remember for the life of me what it was, so I appreciate that. Pro Wrestling Fan says, loved when Taz said that Caster's going to get back in the good graces of Tony Khan after that one. Dude, Taz is legitimate gold, man. Legitimate gold. He's the kind of person that always knows like the right thing to say at the right moments and has some really good lines. So you know what? Shout out to Taz. I think he had a good reaction to all of that. And let's go ahead and continue on and talk a little bit about the actual match itself, which was Bryan Danielson and Anthony Bowens, which is what we're talking about here. Honestly, this was a fun match. Like this was a fun, quick, harmless match. My favorite things about it was that at the beginning of this match, you kind of had Anthony Bowens kind of get a little confident in there in the ring with Bryan Danielson, and they show a close-up of Bryan Danielson's face, and he kind of has this guy really thinks he can go toe-to-toe with me, Bryan Danielson. That's kind of like the reaction that he had, which I kind of thought was a little bit hilarious. But some awesome moments that we had throughout this match. We really saw Anthony Bowens, sort of really hang in there with Bryan Danielson. So that was really fun. They did some mat work at the top of this. And then towards the end, we saw a crossbody from Bryan to Bowens. And then for the actual win, we see Bryan Danielson get the LaBelle lock in for the actual finish. And I liked it. I thought that the second that he got the submission in and the second he got the tap was definitely the right way to end this match. Simple, harmless, enjoyable, everybody. Really enjoyable. But we're going to go ahead and move on. And I hate to I know we still have a whole entire show where we're going to talk about all these other things that happened, with Rampage and with SmackDown. But I'm going to tell you this right now. This is, out of 3 hours of content of television that we saw today, this next segment was by far the best thing that we have seen, that we definitely saw tonight. The best thing that we saw tonight. But this next segment, these next promos, which you're going to be hearing from, that I'm going to recap from Eddie Kingston and CM Punk, were definitely my favorite, and I mean favorite promo work in such a long time, guys. And I ended up watching this segment twice. I kind of stopped watching live because I needed to rewatch this entire thing. Okay, when something is legitimately good and it feels good and you're like, dude, I cannot wait to rewatch this, later on tonight. I need to rewatch this now. This was one of those moments. I freaking loved this, okay? And I'm going to start off by saying that this was my favorite. And I know right now I'm probably forgetting a bunch of other promos that I've probably really loved in AEW. I'm probably forgetting some of them right now. But as of right now, this moment right now, I truly feel that this is one of my favorite promos that I have seen in AEW thus far. And there has been a lot of great ones. There truly has. But I do not recall myself personally, after watching a promo, saying, you know what, I need to rewind and watch this again right now, instantly, right now. And this is how I felt with this one. I think the back and forth between Eddie Kingston and CM Punk was just so legit, so genuine. It felt so realistic. It didn't feel like anybody was faking anything. It felt like they believed each and every single thing that they were saying. It felt real. And that is what I think I personally liked most about it. in terms of like promos that I've seen the entire year across the board, from all the different shows that I watch, I have to say that this one is definitely up there as one of the best because it was good stuff. So let's go ahead and kind of talk a little bit about what was said with Eddie Kingston and CM Punk and why I believe that it was freaking phenomenal. All right. So first and foremost, you have two guys that are very liked by the AEW fan base. Both Eddie Kingston and CM Punk are very much liked by the fans. Additionally, you have two guys that are both known to be phenomenal on the mic itself. CM Punk in his mic work in AEW alone, this is not even including, the pipe bomb and everything that he did outside of AEW and everything that he's done, prior in his career. Literally just in AEW, from the second that he walked in, he's been, connecting with the fans in like a different way, in a very genuine way. And it's been working, right? It's been working. Just even this past Wednesday on Dynamite, just, literally like 2-3 lines in which he talked about Jon Moxley got over so well and connected so well with the people. And then you have Eddie Kingston, who is known for being also very good on the mic. In fact, that being one of his strong suits. So you have two guys that are liked very much. And then these two guys are both good at the exact same thing. So you're thinking, all right, this is either going to be really good or hell, maybe one of these guys is going to outshine the other. Now, in terms of like Eddie Kingston and CM Punk and who outshined who, I don't want to say that anybody outshined anybody because they complemented each other so well and they complemented the story that they were telling so well. But obviously, Eddie Kingston went that extra mile to really push forth this segment into a whole other level. And CM Punk, being the pro that he is, worked off that energy with Eddie Kingston so well that he was able to have great responses and he was able to, also keep up with the energy and the passion that Eddie Kingston was bringing to these promos. So here we go. I'm going to recap some of the highlights of what was said here and what was actually just freaking phenomenal. And then I'll get your thoughts and your opinions as we move forward. So CM Punk comes out and he essentially wants an apology from Eddie Kingston based on, the events that occurred with the attack and him ruining the promo and all of that good stuff, right? So Eddie Kingston comes out and he is pissed off. He's mocking the fact that he interrupted CM Punk, that he interrupted the great CM Punk. And he's kind of making, a mockery of CM Punk. He's making a mockery of the pageantry that AEW has made for CM Punk. So on top, so already he's pissed off and he's being disrespectful. So it's good stuff there. And then you have Eddie Kingston basically saying that, he wasn't there, that, he had tested twice for COVID and, he felt sick and he didn't want to bring COVID, or get anybody sick. So he mentions that. And then he starts asking, do you know who CM Punk is? Do you know who CM Punk is? And then Kingston goes off about the version of CM Punk that he knows. And he starts saying that CM Punk used to be a hero of his. He says that guys like Samoa Joe, Homicide, Amazing Red, that all of these guys used to be his heroes when he first got started in the independent wrestling scene 15 years ago. He says these guys were his heroes. But then he says that CM Punk himself was a scumbag, a narcissistic bitch, says that CM Punk judged him. And then he goes off to say, why did you judge me? Did you judge me because I was fat? Did you judge me because I like to eat a little extra more? Did you judge me because I wasn't kissing ass to the booker? And he goes on and provides a bunch of reasons why he may have been judged by CM Punk. And then he says, I came into that locker room looking for a brotherhood. And instead, you, CM Punk, you judged me. And when he started going off about all of this, I thought to myself, oh my God, he's literally freaking he's just pulling out so much realistic stuff that it just hit very, very well. So then I'm thinking, oh, CM Punk's not going to be able to bounce back from this. How is CM Punk going to respond? How is he going to react to this? Because Eddie Kingston kind of had the upper hand here. What do you say to that? What do you say when somebody's calling you a narcissistic bitch and saying that you judge them? What is the response for that? So CM Punk basically starts to say that he wasn't the only one that judged him. He mentioned, the names that Eddie Kingston had mentioned earlier. He adds Bryan Danielson's name to it. And then he says that these are all guys that they all saw potential in Eddie Kingston. CM Punk says that he saw this potential in Eddie Kingston 15 years ago, that he held him to a certain standard. And then CM Punk hits him with, I was not a fool to believe in you 15 years ago, but I was a fool to believe, I was a fool to hold you up to that same standard now. So kind of basically saying that he fell short of the mark and, kind of calling him out on that. So I thought that was a pretty cool line. He then continues on to call Eddie Kingston a bum, and that obviously affects Eddie Kingston like a whole lot because you see him really reacting to this bum line. And then Eddie Kingston starts going off even more. He then starts telling CM Punk, like, does a bum main event Full Gear? Does a bum, make it to the only professional wrestling company, in the world today? And then before he even says this line, he even tells the people, he makes sure to tell the people, this is a direct shot. So we already knew this was going to be a direct shot at WWE, and he did it. And then he goes on even further, everybody. Kingston then starts to tell CM Punk that the whole entire locker room is afraid to say this to his face, but that nobody wants him there. And then he tells him to take that smirk off his face or he's going to smack it off his face, challenges him to a match. He starts telling CM Punk, fight me, getting in his face. And then eventually CM Punk accepts this match at Full Gear. And just as Kingston is basically telling him, after this match, I essentially want you to leave and never come back. And that pisses off CM Punk. So he literally headbutts him and then they start brawling. It is freaking nuts. So this was such a good promo, guys. I recapped it, but if by any chance you did not watch this promo, please go out of your way because this is exactly what I want in my pro wrestling. This is exactly what I want in my entertainment, is seeing stuff that is realistic and that it feels very true to what is going on and it feels true to the individuals and it's not baby stuff. It's not like silly jokes that we're trying to get over. No, this is a legit gripe between two men, and this is what we're getting. So, chat, I know I talked a lot. Go ahead and let me know, how did you feel about this promo? Are you feeling as passionate about this promo as I am? Let me know. Let's see what we got here. We got so many comments, guys. Literally so many comments here. This is a comment from Dale who says, these are the moments when you remember AEW always tries to give its fans what we want. You saw how hyped Tony Khan was on Twitter. I think I saw that before the show today. Pomi Wrestling says, that has to be promo of the year, right? Only other one that comes to mind is Cole running down Cross in NXT, and it's not even close to the Punk and Eddie segment. Yeah, and there was also the Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly. There was some really good promo work there leading up to their match at TakeOver. That was good stuff there, and there's more that I'm not thinking about right now. But in terms of promo of the year, I think it's got to be up there. Like, if I'm picking promo of the year, this one's it for me. This one's definitely it for me right here. And Haj Gulashi says the two close-ups of them at the end of the brawl were also great too. Thank you. This is also something that should be noted because you have CM Punk with the messy hair all at the end, and you have Eddie Kingston with his tongue out looking all insane. So you literally have two legit guys that are badasses, and they're both pissed off. And you know what? You kind of like them both. So you're in a situation where you're like, I don't know what to call it, guys. I don't know what to call this situation. Sour Machine Gun says, Eddie has the intensity that Punk's been lacking since he came back. Perfect feud to really start to get him going. I think this is definitely the feud that people have been waiting for CM Punk. Like, the Darby stuff was great. That was fun. It's a good way to get things going. But everything since then has been like, all right, cool. I like CM Punk wrestle, these guys. But is it really getting your system going? Are you really getting hot for that? Not necessarily. this is the first thing aside from the Darby Allin stuff where I feel, especially myself, where I feel like I'm genuinely getting like excited, like, okay, this is a story that I can get really invested in. And right now it kind of feels like the story that I'm, most invested in, aside obviously from the Kenny Omega Hangman Page stuff. This is definitely up there with the story that I'm very invested in here. DKC returns. Thank you so much for sending in a super chat. DKC says, got paid. Here's your cut. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. For those of you who do not know, I do get to keep 100% of proceeds from all super chats. Thank you so much to F4W for allowing that. So thank you so much to DKC for sending that in here. And let's go through a couple more comments because there's some good stuff. DKC also brings up Britt and Ruby. That was good stuff there too. And a lot of people are bringing up Ruby and Britt as well. So that is another mention. But for me, it's definitely this one here. We got another super chat. This one is from Briz Lion Gooner, who says, 100% felt the same. Best promo seen in a decade. Okay, so decade's definitely a long time. I don't have the memory span to remember all the promos that I love this decade. So I can't go that far, but it's definitely, for me, it's up there. Like, I can't remember all the promos that I've loved this decade, but it's definitely up there with good stuff here. And let's see what else we got here. This one is from Carney Business, who says, moments like this remind me why I love pro wrestling. Eddie should get that TNT or AEW belt before he retires. Michael Jefferson says there are 4 guys that can bring this level of intensity and believability. He notes CM Punk, Samoa Joe, John Moxley, and King. Yeah. No, dude, like, not a lot of guys can bring it like, Eddie Kingston and CM Punk and all of those guys. Like, it's not, you either have it or you don't. That's just the easiest way to put that there. This is a comment from Brandon, who says, once CM Punk signed with AEW, we've been waiting for these two to cut promos on each other. Expectations were high and have been met. Can't wait for the match. And that's the thing too. I'm glad that you mentioned these expectations, because to be honest, like, I knew it was going to be good, right? But for some reason, I didn't want to let myself get like too invested. Like, I knew it was going to be good, right? But I wasn't like clamoring for it. I don't think I was like, oh my God, right now we're going to get Eddie Kingston versus CM Punk. I wasn't necessarily like that. So I think for me, it kind of made it better because my expectations were there, right? But I don't know if they were so high. But it didn't matter because it kind of blew it out of the water. So it kind of blew my expectation. I don't want to say it blew my expectations out of the water. No, because I don't know. It just doesn't sound like the best way, but it's good stuff there, guys. All right, and I'm going to get some more comments, guys, so please send in your thoughts. This one is from Phantom Shark, who says, after that promo, I think Eddie should beat Punk and set up a long-term feud, as more with these two guys would be amazing. Yeah, I got a couple of people that were like, we need to see another promo between CM Punk and Eddie Kingston, and I kind of like, I want to see the exact same thing, honestly. I really do. I can't say that I don't. And this one is from Lord Pelagius, who says, see, I was clamoring for these two, and it was still better than I was hyped to expect. Dave C says, this rivalry has to go beyond Full Gear. Don't burn the candle out too soon. And that's the thing, obviously, because there's so many options for so many guys and so many stories, with CM Punk and even with Eddie Kingston. But I don't think I want to see it be rushed either. And I think this is the sense that I'm getting from people right now in the chat, is that you want to really, experience the CM Punk Eddie Kingston stuff, because they can go a long ways with it. So there you go. That's a good thing to have. And this is a comment from Michael, who says, I think Moxley and Kingston promo hyping up their match at Full Gear last year was better than this. To be honest, that was good stuff there, because Moxley and Kingston have really good chemistry with one another. They really, really do. But this one just hit differently for me, honestly. Alrighty, guys. So that was that awesome promo. If you're watching the replay of this or the audio version of this, feel free to go ahead and let me know what your thoughts were on this promo and how you feel about this match that it has been made for Full Gear. Additionally, I'm going to read another comment from AFC and TP, who says, I don't think either Kingston or Punk need to fully turn heel. I kind of like that it's two guys with a complicated past going at each other, and neither are outright villains. honest. I like that too. Honest, I do. And that was one of the things that I mentioned right off the bat. You have two guys that are liked by both people. By the fans. Both of these guys are liked by the fans. And I think that makes the story much more interesting, and it kind of makes it a little bit more believable. Yeah, you like these two guys, but both of these two guys are different, and they're bringing two different perspectives of how they feel about each other, and that's clearly what we saw in this, in this segment and everything that unraveled after that. We got a comment from Nate Ivy Baby who says, "An amazing promo from both men. It's going to be a hell of a match." Jake Larson says, "This promo felt real, while the top team and inner circle promos just have written punchlines." Yeah, there's you got to make it blend, man. You can have the punchlines, but have it blend into where it's not standing out so much. But I mean, the top team stuff, that's a whole different story, in my opinion. Totally different topic, but yeah. All right, guys, let's go ahead and jump into the next topic here, or else I'm just going to go on talking about this nonstop. All right, so TBS Women's Championship Tournament continues. We have the Bunny versus Red Velvet, and this was one of the ones where I really didn't have a clear person for me. I didn't have a clear prediction for this one. I thought, well, they can go either way. They can go with the Bunny. Like I said, they got to reward the Bunny, especially after all the ratings talk and everything that went down with that a couple of weeks ago. But then at the same time, Red Velvet, I felt, has sort of always they've given her moments, right? And she's done so well. She had that match with Shaquille O'Neal and Cody Rhodes and Jade Cargill and all of that. Then she had that match with Britt Baker, and she's done other things sprinkled in there. And she's done very well in those situations where I feel there's been times where when she was wrestling, working with Jade, there was moments where I was okay, I know Jade is the one that they're pushing, and I know Jade's the star and this and that, but I kind of felt a little bit at times, sometimes more interested in Red Velvet. So with that being said, I kind of felt like she kept being pushed to the side. She would get moments, but then it was okay, moment over, now you're pushed back to the side. So part of me wanted to see Red Velvet sort of get rewarded for those moments where she won me over as a viewer. And so Red Velvet ends up getting this win over the Bunny. And this was a fun little match too. I mean, it wasn't the best match by any means, but it was entertaining enough. They exchanged strikes back and forth. Red Velvet ends up hitting Bunny with a boot to the face. Red Velvet gets her with a stunner. She goes for 2 roundhouse kicks, but she misses both of them. And then Red Velvet ends up getting the win. So we're going to be seeing Jade Cargill versus Red Velvet. And that's the thing. These two ladies have worked together before. I don't think that we're going to be seeing Red Velvet defeat Jade Cargill, especially because Jade Cargill is definitely a prediction in terms of she's a strong pick. A lot of people are expecting Jade Cargill to take this all the way to the end, to the finals, to possibly become the first TBS Women's Champion. I don't think she's going to be the first. That's just my gut feeling. I think they're either going to go with Ruby Soho or with Thunder Rosa. That's what I think, but there is a good there's a good chance that it might be Jade Cargill. So I do not see Red Velvet defeating her, but these women have history, and I like that they're sort of revisiting this history in this tournament. So thoughts, guys? How did you feel about Jade Red Velvet? Send in some comments here. And we got people acknowledging the Bunny, and Sticker Reds 202 says the AEW universe has never forgiven Red Velvet for that one bad match early on. She's had, not all her moments have been great, but there's been a lot of other people that haven't had great moments throughout the entire time. So I feel like if you see if you see her improving and you see the fire in her, I feel like there's something to pay attention there too. And when Red Velvet's out there, I'm paying attention. She's got a sparkle to her. And when she does, certain things, I feel like she has that extra, that extra oomph when she does stuff. And let's go through a couple more comments. This one is from Leonard, who says, it's worth noting that this tourney nor the creation of a secondary title doesn't happen if this roster doesn't come together the way it has over the last year. It's ridiculously deep right now. AEW was heavily criticized for a while there for how they were running their women's division. And clearly they listened to that and did make a change. So there you go. We're seeing those changes, and it's been a while now that we've been seeing those changes, in effect. We got Corey Conway saying that he would like to see Jade Cargill take this one all the way. We got Jake saying that he hopes it's Ruby or Thunder Rosa. And Church of Platinum says that this match was quick and violent, just the way he likes it. Pro Wrestling Fan says, I like this match and can't wait for Jade versus Velvet because their last two matches I loved, and I hope that down the line, Velvet beats Cargill for the TBS or AEW Women's title. P.S. Acknowledge the bunny. See, that could be something to go with, like, down the line where it's like, okay, Jade Cargill has sort of, always had the best of Red Velvet, but you can tell a story where you see this massive growth in Red Velvet if she does get that massive growth. You could tell a story where they revisit this later on, and maybe Jade Cargill down the line would be a little bit more established where Red Velvet could be that person that they could revisit this and she could someday beat her. I just don't think it's going to happen during this tournament. I would be very surprised though if she did. Honest to God, I would be surprised. And let's see what else we got here. All right. And I just want to hope I don't miss any comments here. This one's from Bubba, who says, I'll always give Red Velvet credit just for her role in the Shaq match. She had an important role in it. Hate that she uses an overdrive now, though. And all right, guys, let's go ahead and jump into the next topic now. This is the main event of AEW Rampage, and it was John Silver versus Adam Page. And this is a fun little match here, guys. Like, that's the thing about both of these guys. John Silver has always been entertaining. It's been entertaining since day one in AEW, at least for me. So John Silver, Adam Page. This was a fun match. Some of my favorite portions of this match was literally John Silver just kicking the hell out of Adam Page's chest. What? I keep saying Adam Page. Sorry, guys. Oh my gosh, all these Adams and these Coles. Adam Cole, baby. Jesus Christ, this happened to me last week too. All the Adams, all the Pages, all the Cages. I'm going crazy. John Silver versus Adam Cole. Forgive me, everybody. Forgive me. Adam Cole versus John Silver. So I like when John Silver was literally just like kicking him in the chest and just like hitting him and hitting him like so much. Like that was really cool. I liked it. I liked John Silver going for the spinning Liger bomb and then going for the pin, but it being a near fall. And you got a couple of near falls there that made it very exciting. I think at some point the crowd was even chanting like, this is awesome. So they really got into this match. Crowd was invested. In the end, we see Silver essentially counter the Panama Sunrise, and he gains momentum back on his side, but Adam Cole essentially hits him with the boom, and he gets the win. So simple. I think everybody here was expecting Adam Cole to get the win, and he did. So good stuff overall, good main event. And Bruce LB... Okay, this comment popped me. He says, Denise, you're proving Vince right on the name thing. I am. Oh my God. I totally am. He's always like, picky about the name stuff and not having people with similar names. Damn, maybe Vince was on to something. Here I am messing up everyone's freaking name. Like, I haven't been watching this show for like ever now, or doing these post-show reviews for like ever now. Oh my God, I'm proving Vince's point. Oh my God, what has my life come to? Thank you so much to Bruce LB for popping me on that one here. And let's go through a couple more comments here. This one is from Edward Gonzalez, who says, getting a holy shit on a near fall is effing awesome. Dude, you can sell it. You can sell it. And they definitely did. We got the Cooch97 who says, love that Cole was 100% selling that vertigo from the chair stomp on Dynamite Wednesday night. Great storytelling. And let's go through a couple more. This one's from Wrestle War, who says, this was a really fun match with lots of cool exchanges and counters. Question the Mark says, you don't need 20 minutes to have a great match. It got fast and furious at the end. All right, guys. Good stuff. Let's talk about the lineup for Dynamite this Wednesday. Of course, we're going to have the Go Home Dynamite show leading into AEW Full Gear, which FYI, I will be at AEW Full Gear. So please keep an eye out on here for post shows, because I am going to be having my post show the following day to talk about the event and everything that occurred. And I am going to have, news, because I will be attending the media scrum right afterwards. And usually there's always a lot of news that come out out of those. And, I post the videos up and all of that good stuff. So if you're looking for like tons of coverage on that, I'll definitely be providing as much coverage as I possibly can for that. And I'm also going to try to do a prediction show ahead of time and, get that all worked out and all of that good stuff. So we'll figure it out. And Mega Flint, with my confident boost of the day. Thank you so much for the lovely super chat saying I look nice. I appreciate it. Boost my confidence. Thank you very much. All right, so the rundown for next week's Dynamite. We got Pac versus Dax Harwood. That should be a good match. I think that's going to be a very solid match. I'm looking forward to it. Thunder Rosa, Ty Conti, and Anna Jay are going to be teaming up to face Dr. Britt Baker, Rebel, and Jamie Hayter. I like this. I feel like it's been a while since we've seen a 6-woman tag. If I remember correctly, it's been a while. We got Matt Sydal and Lee Moriarty versus Dante Martin and Leo Rush. I'm looking forward to that. 4 guys that can do cool stuff. I'm looking forward to it. Bryan Danielson versus Rocky Romero. Hell freaking yes. Hell freaking yes, guys. This is going to be good wrestling, period, okay? Period. And then we're also going to have the world title match contract signing for Full Gear. So we got some pretty good stuff lined up for the Dynamite Go Home show. We got a super chat from Shanos17. Thank you so much to Shanos, who says, hey, Denise, just want to say you're a blessing in the wrestling community. Love the show. Chat, can we put over Denise with some loves? Shanos, I appreciate you. It's people like you and people that come into the show and take part in the show that really make this job so much fun and really make it worth it, so that when I'm freaking out because my audio isn't working, I know that everything's going to be okay because everybody's got my back. So thank you so much to Shano17 for the love and for sending in the super chat as well. All right, guys, let's get into SmackDown. So we got about 20 minutes. I'm going to try to get the show I'm going to try to talk about everything in SmackDown in about 20 minutes or so, because there's a good couple of, there's some good stuff to talk about here. And all right, let's kick this off, guys. Let's talk some SmackDown. All right, so I'm not going to get started with the Roman Reigns segment. I'm actually going to get started with Shayna versus Naomi, because I'm not necessarily sure how I feel about this storyline. And I was liking it in the, I don't even think I was liking it in the beginning, because I kind of felt like it was the storyline that they were supposed to do with Sonya Deville and Liv Morgan. If you guys remember correctly, Sonya was kind of screwing Liv Morgan right before Money in the Bank. So I thought they were going somewhere with that. They weren't. They kind of stopped that. And then it went into Sonya, and there was never a conclusion to Sonya Liv Morgan BTW. If there would have been a conclusion, I would have been okay with it, right? But there was never an actual conclusion. So now we're getting Sonya and Naomi in this feud. And I'm like, okay, fine. You know, I'm happy because damn it, they need to do something with Naomi, who's so freaking awesome. All right. So I'm expecting that. And it was okay in the beginning. I was like, all right. I don't know. Like, I think there was people online that were liking this way more than I was. And I started to think to myself, man, am I not seeing something here? Am I not getting the storyline? So I was trying to like it more. And I think a couple of weeks I was fooling myself and telling myself I liked it. But I got to tell you, after today, I don't think I really like it. Like, I've been lying to myself. I was not crazy about this whole thing, because it's not getting anywhere. It's not going anywhere. Like, I get that we're eventually going to get a serious match at some point between Sonya and Naomi, but it doesn't feel like it. I know we are, but it's going so slow. Anyways, first of all, I would not want to be wrestling Shayna tonight, because we all know what the release is. Eva Marie and Nia Jax. Well, Eva Marie didn't have her last match to Shayna, but she was taken out by Shayna in a quote-unquote injury segment. And then Nia Jax had her last match with Shayna. So I'm like, damn, I would feel a little funky, you know. I'm a little superstitious, you know, going into this match with Shayna. But anyways, we get this match. Shayna hits her with a suplex. Shayna tries to take her to the outside and essentially do the same thing that she did to Eva Marie and Nia Jax. But Naomi's a lot smarter than that, which I appreciated it, because she was holding onto the ropes and she was not going to go to the outside of the ring. She was not going to get anywhere near those steel steps. So I like that they did do that here. And then we see we see her essentially, we see Shayna lock in the Karafuda clutch, but then Naomi gets, okay, here's the part where I really wish they would have done a replay, because I saw Naomi get the win, right? And I thought, oh, good, she got the win. Yay. Good for Naomi. And I even sent out a tweet and I was like, I'm so happy Naomi got the win here. And then Sonya Deville comes out and she's like, no, you did it. And I thought to myself, damn it, replay. This is a moment where I need to see a replay of what the hell happened here. Like, in my mind, she got the win and she got it perfectly fine, right? But I don't think I was paying close enough attention, because Sonya basically says that she was holding onto the ropes, blah, blah, blah. She didn't get the win. So she restarts this match, and then she ends up, Naomi ends up getting choked out by by freaking Shayna. So it's one of those things where I'm like, at what point they need to start. Here's the thing. I don't like that they've sort of been letting Naomi get pushed around. And that's what's supposed to happen, right? I guess she's the babyface. They're trying to, paint some sympathy, trying to gain some sympathy for her. But it's gotten to the point where it's like, all right, Naomi needs to stand up for herself, and she also needs to be getting some wins here. And I know what they're doing, with Shayna, and we've been saying that we want her to essentially be back to this, badass Shayna and all of that. But now just a tool in this Sonya Naomi story, which is just been being dragged out to the possible extent. So I don't know, man. It needs to speed up. It needs to speed up. That's all I can basically say. We got a comment here from Cameron Mumford, who says the Sonya Naomi segment is not bad. It's just that Naomi is misplaced here. They should have used someone who's an up-and-comer or something, and we still don't have Sonya's explanation yet. We have no idea. Like, I still don't understand why she was being so mean to Liv Morgan, and now she's being mean to Naomi. All I got from this is that Sonya is an on-camera, well, obviously this is on camera, guys. I'm just talking about like the storyline. So the storyline, in my view, is that Sonya is in a position of power and she doesn't like a lot of the women, so she keeps them down and she screws them. That's the storyline I'm seeing here. That's what I saw her do with Liv Morgan. That's what she's doing with Naomi. Unless you tell me otherwise, that's the storyline that I'm seeing here. Michael Jefferson says, to be honest, I don't even know why Sonya is mad at Naomi. I probably missed it, but I'm glad they're actually doing something with Naomi. I don't know either. Naomi came in all nice, right? Because she just before the draft, she just appeared on SmackDown. And she was just like, hey, I'm here, want to introduce myself. And then immediately it was like, oh, well, I got beef with you. So we don't really even have an actual explanation, to be honest here. We got a comment from Brandon who says, too much heat with Sonya and Naomi stuff. Babyface should get one over the heel in more situations. For example, Austin got more times over in on Vince. Yeah, they need to give her a leg to stand on. And right now they're kind of just making her look like a fool, which really sucks, man. So hopefully they spice things up a little bit more and speed things up with the story and really, really give it a little bit more depth here. We got another Xia Li vignette. They're still promoting her. We still don't officially know when she's debuting, because I think it's just the coming soon still. I don't think they put next week or anything like that. I think it was just the coming soon. Then we get a interview backstage with Ridge Holland, ladies and gentlemen. Ridge Holland. So Ridge Holland was on NXT. He got called up during the draft and got drafted to SmackDown. And this was one of those things where I'm like, you have Ridge Holland, who literally has this fantastic look, and he's a star, and you know why he got drafted. Why didn't they do any vignettes for him? We haven't even seen him in weeks since this. We haven't seen we haven't seen any promotion for him that I remember since the news that he got drafted. And I'm thinking, all right, if it's going to be a while until we actually see him on TV, because it was I kind of even forgot that Ridge Holland, I knew that he was going to be on the roster, but I kind of just forgot, it was one of those things where he came out and I was like, oh yeah, Ridge Holland, he's supposed to be on SmackDown. I do wish that they would have maybe done some sort of promo, some sort of vignettes that maybe could, just like what they're doing with Xia Li, they could have done something like that for Ridge Holland, so it wouldn't have felt so unexpected, or just sort of like a reminder, oh shoot, he's there. All right, cool. So he popped out of nowhere. It looks like he's going to be working a promo. He's going to be working a feud with Sheamus. So I'm like, All right, cool. Moving on. Not much to say there. All right. This Shotzi Blackheart promo. Let's get into this. So last week, my big gripe with her match with Charlotte Flair was that Charlotte Flair is a badass heel. Shotzi Blackheart got over as hell with the crowd. She's had one of the best reactions from an NXT talent on the main roster in recent memory. She had a way better reaction than Karrion Kross, had a way better reaction than Keith Lee. The crowd was definitely in on Shotzi Blackheart. She was over, and I'm thinking, like, good for Shotzi. Oh, this is great. And then they turned her heel, and that was my big gripe. Like, kudos to Shotzi because she is doing a phenomenal job. She did a phenomenal job last week, and she did a phenomenal job this week as a heel. But my gripe was that she should have been a babyface, given the fact that she got over with the crowd, right? And that she's likable. I mentioned all of that. Cool. So now she's here and it's official. She's a heel. And she's doing this promo backstage with Megan. And Megan, I forget what the question is that she asked, but Shotzi essentially goes off. And she basically starts, talking about all of the things that she's lost. She talks about, losing the match with Charlotte Flair, it being one of the most important matches of her career, her losing her tag team partner. And I'm thinking, is she allowed to mention that? Like, I know that's a stupid question, but I'm like, wait, like, what's going on here? Like, it actually really caught me off guard where I didn't really know if Shotzi was allowed to mention that. I thought it was going to be something that was like forbidden to talk about. I don't know. So she throws in the line that she lost her tag team partner. And then she says that she lost that the WWE universe essentially turned on her. So I liked everything about this promo. I loved her delivery. I loved her heel work. All of it, everything that she said, except for that one line when she said the WWE universe turned on her, because that is not true whatsoever. She was freaking over as hell. They did not turn on her. If anything, she turned on the people. So I thought that line was a little bit dumb, but everything else that she said, especially at the end when she calls out Sasha Banks, and she basically says that she's done with Sasha Banks's patronizing attitude, that her patronizing attitude was her final straw, and that she's going to run over Sasha, and that she's going to run over anyone else who tries to get in her way, and she doesn't even have to do it with a tank. So I think this is the official, I'm not going to come out with a tank anymore promo. I think that's what I got from this, but I think she did a really good job in terms of like delivering her lines and all of that good stuff. Again, the only tweak that I would have, honestly, the only line that I would have taken out was the WWE universe turning on her, because other than that, everything else was good stuff. And I'm really liking so far what Shotzi has been bringing what she's been bringing to the table. It's really, really good stuff there. And let's see what we got here, guys. Go ahead and send in some comments here. And this one is from Mac, who says, here's the thing. She got a reaction. Cross got silence. Keith got some cheers, then silence, and so on. No one turned on her. She was the last recent NXT call-up we had real hope for. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, they need baby faces. And I can't think of a better baby face than Shotzi Blackheart. She has a fantastic look. And I said this last week, but if I was 14 years old and I was watching SmackDown right now, I would be begging my mom to let me dye my hair green so that I can be Shotzi Blackheart. She has that cool it factor that, like, me as a former young fan, I would have definitely been a big Shotzi Blackheart fan, like big. Obviously, I'm a little bit older now, so I'm not going to be dyeing my hair green, and also wouldn't look very professional. So what can you do? But honestly, they really need a baby face, and she's got a good look. She's exciting when she's in the ring. She brings a lot of energy. So I think that they could have definitely stuck with her as a baby face there. But all right, we're moving on. All right. Los Lotharios. I don't use this word, guys. I'm bilingual, but I've never used this word in my life. I didn't even know what this word meant. I was like, what's a Lothario? I don't know. I'm bilingual, but I don't use this word. It's not in my everyday language, guys. So I had to Google it. I was like, what is Lothario? Like, should I know this word? Here's the definition of Lothario. Oh, BTW, before I get to why I'm talking about this, Humberto and Angel Garza now officially have a name for their tag team, which is Los Lotharios. Apparently, Lothario is, and this is from the dictionary, quote, men that behave selfishly or irresponsibly in their sexual relationships with women. Yay. And then I also found another definition where it's essentially just oh my gosh, it's men oh my gosh, what's the freaking word? Womanizer. There you go. They're womanizers. So there you go. Los Lotharios. They're doing the womanizer thing. Cool. That's fine. Whatever. Cesaro, this is a fun match. Like, this was a okay match. Obviously Cesaro hits all of his, big spots. He does the uppercut. He does the big swing. He hits all of those moments. All of that stuff in this match was perfectly fun. You do end up seeing Humberto and Garza essentially get the win here. They should, since they're debuting them as a team. But here's the thing though. So they face Cesaro and Mansoor. And I'll be honest with you, I do not know why Cesaro and Mansoor were teaming. This felt very, very random and kind of didn't make sense. I was like, okay, they got to give them the win here to Garza and Humberto because A, they're the new tag team, and B, they just debuted their name. Like, you can't lose when you got your name just debuted. And then why would you lose to a team that's not even a team, So good stuff for them. Happy for them. I hope they get pushed, man. They can add so much to the tag team division. And I'm gonna save my thoughts on the tag team division because I have a lot more to say once we actually get to that. I don't even want to talk about it. Once we get to that Madcap, Baron Corbin, Viking Raiders stuff. But before we get to that, we got Drew versus Ricochet, and this is actually one of the highlights of SmackDown, period. Drew McIntyre, they really have been turning the tables. Things were kind of going downhill for him over on Raw. All of the Veer, Shanky, freaking gender stuff was kind of going down the hill. All of the Scottish storytelling going down the hole, whatever. And then also the sword stuff, it just wasn't working. None of it was working. But now he's on SmackDown, so good for him. He's defeated Sami Zayn. He defeated Mustafa Ali. And now he defeated Ricochet. But this match was so much fun because Drew McIntyre was literally okay, so he kicks off this match. He just gives one hard chop to Ricochet, and then after that, it's just like Ricochet is a ragdoll. He is tossing him over his head. Ricochet is bumping for him like crazy. He's, banging him on the ring apron. You name it, he did it. Ricochet was literally his ragdoll. He was being manhandled throughout this entire match. For the finish, we see Ricochet essentially go for a moonsault, but Drew McIntyre kicks him in the face. Drew McIntyre gets the win. This was fun, and they are doing so much to bring back Drew McIntyre to life because Drew McIntyre is a star, and I feel bad that he got stuck, being the champion during this COVID and pandemic with no people in the Thunderdome and all of that. That really affected his title reign, and I kind of feel like he got the short end of the stick there, but. So Drew McIntyre, we know he's going to be in this program pretty soon with Roman Reigns. They've already been, planting a little bit of the seeds there. He's going to be, getting these wins, which is what he's doing. He's already gotten 3 wins on SmackDown since he's been there. I like that they're doing this because this is so much more effective. Drew McIntyre defeating guys like Ricochet, Ali, and Sami is so much more effective than, again, having him do all these backstage interviews where he's talking about the history of Scotland that only Scottish people probably were interested. Even they were probably sick of it. So honestly, this was just so much more effective. This was a good match. I really enjoyed all of this here. And let's see if we got any other comments. BTW, guys, before we move on to the next topic, I do want to remind you guys all that I will be back next week. I'm going to be, next week's kind of be a busy one on here because I have NXT to talk about. Then on Tuesday. Then on Wednesday, I have AEW Dynamite, the Go Home show. And then Friday, SmackDown and Rampage. And then additionally, Full Gear and Full Gear predictions. It's going to be nuts, guys. I need to figure out that schedule. So as you can tell, I'm a little bit stressed out. You can see it in my face. All right. Next, let's move on to probably one of my least favorite segments on SmackDown in a very, very long time. This was a Happy Talk segment that started off as this literally had all of my least favorite things in one segment. All of them. I did not like anything about this. All right. So we started off with the Happy Talk segment, and this was my thing where I'm just so done with wrestling talk shows. I'm done. I can't do it anymore. The second a wrestling talk show starts, or whatever it is, I tune out. I'm just like, I can't. I think what was the final straw for me was all those Miz TVs that I watched, all those Miz TVs and Moist TVs. They killed me. That was the end of it for me. I can't anymore. Like, you got to come up with a brilliant freaking idea if you're going to do a talk show again. And you got to have somebody that is likable doing these talk shows. And you got to have good content when you're doing these talk shows. Because other than that, I'm done with the talk show stuff, guys. I can't handle it. It's my least favorite thing. Like, my least. And they've been doing these with Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss. I can't even tell you what happened during this, okay? Because I could not watch it. I just could not. And so this ended up, though, becoming a match with Madcap Moss and Baron Corbin versus the Viking Raiders, all right? I'm a fan of the Viking Raiders. I love the Viking Raiders. They are my kind of team. This was like, the match itself was okay, right? You know, it's your every Viking Raiders match that you've seen, okay? You all know. All right, fine. My gripe with this going into this match, aside from the talk show stuff, where I was like, okay, what is the issue here? Why am I, Denise, who's watching the show, why am I not interested in what I'm seeing right now? The reason for that is they have not given me a reason to care about the Viking Raiders. They have not given me a reason to care about Baron Corbin and Madcap Moss. There's no reason. I haven't been given anything for me to be like, you know what? I'm a fan of these guys. Yeah, I'm a fan of what Viking Raiders do in the ring. Cool. But it's just hasn't been enough. It hasn't been enough. So it's not sticking for me as a viewer. So you have two teams here, 4 guys, and I'm not interested in any of them. So that was my issue heading into this. And that's why I wasn't interested in this match on top of the talk show stuff, which for me was just brutal. But then it gets worse. So I'm already not interested, okay? But you can make me interested, all right? But instead, so after I don't know how many minutes of having this match, it ends in a count out. Madcap Moss and Baron Corbin just decide to leave. They just decide we're done. We're not going to do this anymore. They leave. They get counted out. And I'm just like, why? I know this is supposed to further the story, and I know it's supposed to make them bigger heels and all of that. But now I just don't care. And that was the issue that I was talking about too, because they did this with Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke when they were teaming on Raw. They did that with them, like, I think 2 or 3 times on the show, where they just had them leave and not care. Why should I care about them now? And also, like, why should I care about, the tag team? It's just, it sucks that this everything here that they did in the segment was the reason why I think they need to work so much more on that tag team division, and just across the board. This was just not my favorite thing, guys. I'm sorry. What did you think? If you like this, please let me know why, but I couldn't find anything for this one. This one was for me the part that took me out of the show. Oh God, let's see here. We got comments from Chad West. It says, literally forgot about the Viking Raiders. Like, where have they been? And we got so many people just basically saying lame finish with a capital L, home of non-finishes. Oh, I'm trying to find a good comment on here. I really am. This one's from Michael, who says, I agree with you on the nonstop talk shows. It's like Vince is trying to recreate Piper's Pit, but he's got to realize Roddy Piper was entertaining and people actually cared about him. I think the last time I was remotely interested in a talk show segment was probably when Kevin Owens was doing it, because he's just a likable dude. You got to have a likable person doing it. And Kevin Owens was likable. So that's how I feel about that. And Brandon says, quite frankly, they're overdoing the talk shows. Back then, they would show up once every few years or so. And let's go through a couple more. Ludite 11 says, how can you possibly hate the fact every damn wrestler has one? They're just not good, guys. Like, you got to make it good. Sticker Reds 202, let it play out. He's joking, by the way. He's joking. Darth says he changed the channel on this one. Man. Sour Machine Gun says, remember when the War Raiders had to relinquish the NXT tag titles because literally no one could beat them? Good times. That's really sad. All right, guys, let's move on to Hit Row. So, man, where do I begin? I don't know where to begin on this one. So, poor B-Fab. She was not good in the ring. We know that. On NXT, she had 2 matches. One was against Carmen Electra, and the other one, I forget who it was against. Whatever. She had 2 matches. They were not good. Fine. Whatever. She gets called up to SmackDown along with her, Hit Row mates. Entire Hit Row get called up to SmackDown. Good for them. From the start, we already knew that they were a main roster act, okay? Yeah, she was not good in the ring, but she had personality, she had charisma, and she had a good look. And you just never know what someone's potential could be if given more, more time to prepare and get better in the ring. They could have they didn't necessarily have to put her in matches. They could have literally just used her as a mouthpiece, just something, somebody to add to more life to Hit Row. Feel bad for her. She got released. I'm sure she wasn't expecting it. Brian had mentioned on the show that she had just signed her, main roster contract, I believe last week or so. So it's like, damn, like you just signed a new contract and then bam, you're out the door. Like that's very unfortunate. So I do feel bad. Personally, I do think that now that B-Fab isn't with Hit Row, it's obvious that something is missing there. It's like when that's what we knew with Hit Row. We knew these 4 people, and obviously one of them being B-Fab, and she brought a lot to the table with the group as a whole. And now you take the main, I don't want to say main piece, but obviously, as the woman, you take her out. It's very obvious that she's gone and that she's missing. So it does take away from Hit Row. Like personally, now it's just 3 dudes. Cool. Whatever. So Sami Zayn ends up running into Hit Row backstage. He claims that he believes that Hit Row's debut last week sucked. So Ashante the Adonis is offended, and but Top Dollar essentially stops him from being offended. And instead, Top Dollar asks Sami Zayn to show them how to do the entrance, and he ends up coming out with them. And of course, they obviously, basically bury him there. There's not much else to say, guys. There really isn't much else to say there. We got a super chat from Killer Mike 375 who says, when Madcap Moss and Baron Corbin came out, I tuned out. And that sucks, right? Like, that sucks. And remember when we were all interested in Sad Corbin? Or was he Sad Corbin? Depressed Corbin? I don't know, poor Corbin, whatever he was. Remember when we were all interested in that? That was fun. That was working. People were connecting with that. That was clicking. He was doing good stuff there. And then it started. We loved it and it ended and it was over. Now it's just a memory. Thank you, Killer Mike 375, for sending in a super chat. I really appreciate that. AFC in TP says, I like how they carefully edited B-Fab out of the Hit Row themes only for McAfee to see it at the top of his lungs. Yeah, it was noticeable. I didn't hear her as much as I did before, so I figured that it was edited because I did hear like a female's voice, like, but just a little bit though, like not as much as it was before. Pony Wrestling says they can't Hit Row anymore. Let's move on to Uh, let's move on to Roman Reigns. And this is actually the last segment that we're going to talk about, and then we'll wrap up this show. Before I get to this last segment, I do want to remind you guys all, if you haven't subscribed to F4W Online, please make sure you do over on YouTube. We are over 80,000 subscribers. We're making our way to 100K. Make sure you guys subscribe. And if you guys want to be part of the members only subscription, you guys can. I know that there is tons of content that's being posted only for members, which is pretty cool. And we'll be getting so many new subscribers. So if you guys want to take part in that, you can. Additionally, I'm here live, on Tuesdays twice a day. I do We're Live Pal with Garrett and Andrew Zarian. And then afterwards, I do the NXT post show. And you guys know all the other shows that I do on here for Speak Now Pro Wrestling. And then additionally, if you did not know, over on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Denise Salcedo, I recently uploaded an interview with Ruby Soho. And that interview has been getting such great feedback. It's about 30 minutes long, and we talk about literally everything. Her working with Britt Baker, her thoughts on the TBS Women's Championship Tournament. She does the 10 questions lightning round game with me, which is really fun. You get to learn so much about her. And then prior to that, I had an interview with Ricky Starks, which you guys can check out as well. So there's a lot of really good stuff going up on that channel. Again, that is youtube.com/Denise Salcedo. Now let's get into this final segment, which was Jimmy Uso versus Xavier Woods. The show essentially kicked off with Roman. The show kicked off in with a promo from Roman Reigns and the bloodline, and it kind of it dragged a little bit. It dragged a little bit to get to the point. So I'm not even going to go over everything because there wasn't even much to say other than Xavier and Kofi Kingston interrupt the bloodline, and at the end we end up getting this whole challenge that Xavier Woods makes, and he makes a challenge, and it ends up being Jimmy Uso versus Xavier Woods, with the loser having to bend the knee. So that was the whole build up to that, and it took about 15 minutes, but that's what it was. So we get to the actual match, Jimmy Uso versus Xavier Woods. Some moments from this, we get Xavier hitting a leg drop from the top rope. He goes for the count. It ends up being a near fall. Jimmy does a Samoan drop on Woods from the top rope. We got another near fall. So this was pretty fun. Like the near falls were definitely picking up steam for the match itself. Then we see the Usos try to cheat. But Woods ends up using this as an opportunity to essentially get the win here, because their frustration ends up essentially costing them their match here. So Jimmy ends up having to bend the knee, and he's about to go and actually bend the knee since he lost, and he's a man of his word, clearly. But Roman Reigns ends up coming in out of nowhere and hits Woods with a Superman punch. They end up brawling. The bloodline gets the best of them. The Usos super kick Woods, and then Roman spears Woods, and that is pretty much how the show wraps up, with Roman Reigns holding up the title bout. And I mean, the only thing about this is, I don't know where they're going with this. I'm assuming they're probably going to do, Roman. I don't know if they're going to do Roman and Woods. They could do that. Maybe Roman and Kofi. Maybe they can do that as well. But right now, it kind of feels like obviously the focus is right now with the Usos and with Woods and Kofi Kingston. So it kind of feels like Roman Reigns is kind of like there within their story. It doesn't really feel like, even though they're, an entity altogether as the bloodline, it doesn't really feel like Roman Reigns' story. It feels like their story. So I hope that ends up, eventually clicking. But for the most part, that was the show. Yeah, we have a comment from Sour Machine Gun who says it was a flat ending. It's because, like I said, this to me, like, even though Roman's involved and Roman is, obviously there, this doesn't feel like a Roman Reigns story just yet. This feels like an Usos, Woods, Kofi Kingston story. It doesn't feel like a Roman Reigns story. So that's why personally, I'm not as hot for this story. I'm not as hot for it, at least not yet. So there's still a little bit more work that needs to be done for me to get a little bit more invested in this. And I've been loving everything that Roman Reigns does. So I think eventually I will get invested in this. But that was SmackDown, everybody. That was AEW Rampage. I want to thank you guys all so much for literally coming onto the show and watching. I'm sorry if this was your first time watching and I had those audio issues at the beginning of the show. I apologize. That doesn't always happen. I'm never disconnecting things ever again. Not touching it at all. Thank you guys so much for all the love, all the support. I will be back here on Tuesday for NXT. Other than that, I hope you guys have an awesome weekend. Do not forget to follow me on Twitter and or on Instagram @_Denise Salcedo. Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye.